Good evening. My name is Colin Halpin, and I'm a senior studying history and economics pre-law here at Kansas State. I have the privilege of introducing you to our next speaker, Dr. Dan Kuester. My first interaction with Dr. Kuester was 3 years ago when I took his Principles of Macroeconomics class. Now, this was a lecture-style class 3 times a week with well over 100 students. But every class, Dr. Kuester was able to connect on an individual level with each one of his students through the use of different tools inside the classroom, different examples, different lecture techniques, as well as different videos that he would play in class. His favorite subject was the TV show The Office. Dr. Kuester is also the Director of Undergraduate Studies for the Economics Department and serves as advisor for the Economics Club. He also advises a group of K-State students that attends the Economics Scholars Program, which is an undergraduate research conference held annually at the Dallas Federal Reserve. I've had the joy of going twice and was able to present last year through his encouragement. One of Dr. Kuester's favorite statements that he stresses to his students is, "Economics is everywhere." Economics is the study of how people and firms make decisions in society. And Dr. Kuester encourages us to look for examples of economics at work in the world around us. It is my honor to introduce Dr. Dan Kuester.
Thank you, Colin. Appreciate that a great deal. I want to thank Jana and Michael and everybody involved in this. This is a really great opportunity. And part of what I'm going to say is a little bit redundant with some of the other speakers. Fortunately, given the quality of what we've heard, I'm pretty excited about being redundant. So that's where we're going to go. My dissertation was on Thomas Robert Malthus. And Malthus is commonly known as the person that drove Thomas Carlyle into calling economics the dismal science. And as I thought about a topic that we could discuss this evening, I thought about overcoming these preconceptions about the dismal science, possibly overcoming student fears about a large lecture, although listening to Mick, maybe those aren't quite as large of problems as we thought. But there are some concerns about coming into a class of between 150 and 250 students in a macroeconomics lecture. And so what we try to do is utilize our advantages. Of course, again, we think of economics, people have these general ideas. There are no optimistic economists, and when people think, those of you that are my age, when you think of the most famous economist, the most famous teacher of economics in the movies or in television, we get Ben Stein, Bueller, who actually gives a pretty good lecture on the Smoot-Hawley Act, if you can get around his approach, but it's a pretty dry approach, and no one's too excited about hearing that type of an approach. So what we want to do is I want to demonstrate some of the 2-minute timeout type things that I do in my lectures and ways that we try to involve our students and do experiments, show some videos, do some things like that. So I'm just going to start out with something we do in our class because it's pretty simple. If anyone would be willing to come up and take my place and sing a karaoke song of my choosing to all of you for $1 million, please stand up. $1 million, American money, American money. But then we'll talk about the Zimbabwean money later. Wow. Okay, my students are braver than most of these folks. We would remain standing normally, but I would be broke. We go to $10,000 and $100 and then a dollar. And what we're trying to do is take advantage of the concept of returns to scale. We want to take advantage of our size. We know in economics that as a firm gets larger, in a lot of cases, they can take advantage of cost savings and they can be more efficient and do a better job providing goods and services. At least they can usually outsource their competitors or have a lower price. So we do this example, and what it does, although our students again are a little braver than this crowd, is it allows us to get a supply function. And this is one of the concepts that students tend to struggle with in an economics course, is the difference between simply supply or demand and quantity supplied and quantity demanded. And through this, and we have, again, a very steep slope once we get to about $10,000, we can demonstrate a typical labor supply function. As the price of something goes up, a good, or in this case a service, more people are willing and able to produce or supply that product. And then we can differentiate between a change in quantity supplied and a change in supply. What would make people less likely to do karaoke in front of the group? Apparently, being here would be one of those things. So we can see that people wouldn't be too excited about doing this in prison, or I usually say Bill Snyder Family Stadium, but maybe we should say the Alumni Center, and we could see what would decrease the supply of this product. Of course, the idea of what might increase the supply, we're all great in the shower, we're all great when we're in our car, we think we're heroes, and we're pretty fantastic at this. So we did this in our class, and we took advantage of our group, and we were able to get some students here for $1 each, by the way, to come up and do this thing. And they had a lot of fun with it, and it was pretty neat. And one of my friends said, wow, you had a heck of a Econ 110 class today, Kuester. I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, I saw your students were reflecting on this on Snapchat. And I'm not the biggest Snapchat guy in the world, but I was like, this is a really cool thing. And it also kind of shows you the type of students that we have, that we are so encouraging and reinforcing, saying this could be the next Super Bowl halftime show. There are no disparaging comments with our class and when we participate in these type of things. So this is one of the ways we try to kind of make the class feel smaller, feel more intimate, and kind of come together as a group. Another thing we do is a class Facebook page. On that page, we may do something as simple as have problems that we work together to try and solve, as you might do within a class, and we do that in the class also, Think, Pair, Share, but we might take it outside of the class and let people work together on a Facebook page. Or we may have articles on something like drug legalization, immigration, trade, minimum wage, any number of kind of hot economic topics. Our students are encouraged to come up with these articles, and then we'll try to facilitate a discussion about them. So we really try to have fun with this, and we try to make it interesting. Another thing that we do are these 2-minute timeouts. I would say the last thing you have to do in this environment is reinvent the wheel. The resources that the Teaching Support Center have are phenomenal, and they have all sorts of different activities, not just this one, that people can go and get great ideas. But there are also, within economics, a lot of websites and things that are designed to show little quick videos where you have a lesson incorporated in the video. The one thing I've kind of contributed myself is this Economics of the Office. As Colin said, that's kind of a passion of mine. Most of those clips were ones that we came up with, but Big Bang Theory, Bazingomics, there's a Seinfeld one. And for a lot of social sciences, if you go to criticalcommons.org, you can find short clips that would be very applicable to your class. We also do econ selfies this semester. That's been a new thing, and we're really excited about that. Maggie was showing that her pillow there was made in China, and Sophia was really excited about the marginal benefit of lecturing in front of her large lecture class that outweighed the cost, and Nick talked about the major increase in flower prices on Valentine's Day. So these are kind of things that we're trying to incorporate and do and fit in. We also use the poll everywhere technique, where students, we usually have these moderated, where students do send in their comments, and we get feedback about upcoming things in the class that way. We do more traditional multiple choice. What song did they sing at the karaoke? In that case, it was, I'm sorry for our band folks here, but it was the blank space that won. And then we will poll people on the type of questions that I may put up before the lecture, and then put up a series of answers, let people vote in. It's anonymous, but then we can go over and talk about how how you should have approached a problem. So the poll everywhere is a technology I'm really fond of. So again, as economists, just to kind of sum up, we do want to take advantage of our size. We feel like that we can have a meaningful interaction with a large lecture if we look at this as a positive and not a negative. We can take advantage of returns to scale. And even though I've gone over my 6 minutes tonight just slightly, one thing I do at the beginning of the semester is I set aside about 7 or 8 hours to have 6-minute meetings with students. And those students that are quick to sign up, come by my office, visit with me about anything except economics, can pick up a little bit of bonus points in the class. That's designed basically to put them at ease, to get to know what they're interested in, maybe to come up with some topics that we can later incorporate into the class. And I do think that it is a lot of time, but it's time well spent that helps build the community that has the kind of fun environment that we have in Econ 110, because economics is everywhere, and it is an extremely important discipline, and we're really excited to have the opportunity to talk about it in front of such, really polite and attentive and great students. So thank you.